What you use to make something, what you are using to do it, the material, greatly influences the value of the final product. If you want to produce something with real and lasting value, start with the best material. This is so obvious that it hardly needs to be stated, but I will be a servant of the obvious by stating it here once again. Don't forget it, don't overlook it. If you want to make something wonderful, make it out of wonderful material. What about a human being, their makeup, their character? When ancient people wondered what made up a worthy person, they compiled a list of virtues, and they were temperance, prudence, fortitude, and justice. It is not simple to say what each of these is exactly, but it is worth the time to reflect on each of them as a component of a worthy person. Temperance, prudence, fortitude, and justice. And to know that the virtuous person possessed each of these qualities in the proper proportion, none to excess. Adding any more of any of them did not make for a better person. Too much of any one of them weakened the whole. And to these virtues, to make up that whole, were added three more of a spiritual nature: faith, hope, and charity. Adding these 7 qualities, each in the right measure, builds a virtuous person. That is what the ancients thought. Temperance, prudence, fortitude, justice, faith, hope, and charity. They are the material out of which a virtuous person is made, or at least some people believe that to be so. So it goes for other things: nutrition, software, music, comedy, architecture. The most famous story about building material that immediately comes to mind is the one about the 3 little pigs and the wolf. The straw house blew down, the stick house blew down, but the house made of brick and mortar protected the pigs from the wolf. Building the brick house takes more time and effort and know-how, but it pays a very real dividend. In the end, it's the only house worth building. If you're trying to make a good food to eat, it's simple. Start with good ingredients. Sure, it helps if you know what you're doing, if you can cook, but if you avoid fancy techniques and if you stick with good ingredients, chances are excellent that you won't go wrong. Further, if you expose yourself to good food, you can't possibly enjoy junk, and that equation holds true for everything else. Once you experience true quality, it becomes difficult to settle for anything less, anything else. Of course, there is a price to this. Quality costs. But if the value is truly in the product, then acquiring it is an investment. Buying cheap stuff isn't saving money. It's throwing money away. When you buy something cheap, not only does it break down quickly, but every time you use it, it isn't right, and you're disappointed. It becomes a subtle form of sustained torture. Increasingly, unavoidably, good material is expensive. Therefore, many things are built cheap and they do not last. They are not expected to last. And when they do break down or wear out, the advice is almost always, get a new one that's not worth repairing. So people buy an entire cycle of cheap, unsatisfying goods when one well-built one would have done the job. In writing, the advice is the same. Think long and hard about your material. Don't waste words on frivolous subjects. Write about the things that matter the most. Write about things that are as vital to living as food, water, and shelter. That's a proper challenge. I'm tempted to name some since I've already identified myself as a servant of the obvious, but this time I'm going to let it go. The list could vary for different people. One of the great joys of writing is finding something worth writing about and then trying to express it adequately, maybe even adroitly, possibly with a style fueled by the material itself. A word of caution: excellent material can be tricky or difficult to work with. Some care is required. Not everybody can do it. It takes a skilled hand to split a diamond. There is considerable risk involved and no guarantee of success. The material sets its own parameters, makes its own demands. It's like the tightrope without a net, or going all in at a high-stakes poker game. The next time you're watching a movie or listening to a song or reading a story, an article, or a poem, think, what is this made of? Take it apart. Discover in its composition the material out of which it has been made. Then you will know what exactly went into it, and then you can see how it was handled, expertly or not. Tiffany used the finest material and had a wonderful sense of style that allowed the finest material to shine. If you are using words, try to do no less. Choose the best material and then honor it by using it well. The right material will certainly test you and possibly reward you in rich and surprising ways. The use of good material is a key to success.